Okay, welcome to, I guess it's Earth Day, 422. Wonderful. Happy Mama Gaia Day. What a wonderful time to connect and center in. We are just going to take a minute and we'll do a quick opening blessing, and then we'll get into our bodies with some shaking and a little bit of moving. If you can, Jib, I know you're in the car, but you can kind of shake where you're sitting. Then we'll do a chance for Q&A if you guys have questions. And after that, we will do a drop-in, like a guided somatic meditation, and hold space for all these crazy and sad and scared and all the things, little pieces that have been coming up in this intense eclipse portal. So we'll get started with a quick opening blessing. You can put your hands in receiving mode up on your lap or on your heart center, whatever feels good. And close your eyes and just really anchor into your beautiful body temple, feeling the weight of gravity like a hug from Mama Gaia on this beautiful Earth Day. Feeling your sit bones on the seat or in the chair, whatever you're sitting on the floor. And just anchoring in deep into your core, deep into your root chakra. Taking some deep breaths and just noticing how your body feels in this moment. We call in our angels and guides, the highest light. We call forth Mother Mary, Archangel Michael, Mary Magdalene and her beloved Yeshua, my higher wisdom, everyone else's higher wisdom who's here present live and for the recording, and really opening this space for the highest and deepest blessings, the highest healing, the most connected, embodied presence we can have. Just asking for this to be a joyful healing time together with so much gratitude for being able to come together in this way. So it is. So what we're going to do first is we're going to stand up if you can, or just sit where you are. But we're going to do a little shaking. So if you have the ability to stand up, I'm going to move this up just a little bit. And you don't have to look at my legs. We're just going to shake it out. So animals like to shake. You see dogs shaking, ducks shaking. We just know that our bodies, so muscles like to shake. They like movement, they like oxygen. So just whatever feels good to shake. If you can make a sound, if that feels good, just letting yourself be just fully releasing everything, and just actually take a little pause for a moment, just standing here and feel, even just with that, what that's lit up for you in your body. Just taking some deep breaths, feeling your feet on the ground, anchoring in, and just feeling what might be lighting up in your body, how you might be either holding up your frame or allowing your skeleton to hold you up. Just kind of noticing how your body feels and like any movements that might feel good. So one of the things in our Western cultures, we tend to just be sitting and we get stuck, and we know our body holds tension. So we tend to just kind of get in these spaces. So just really doing whatever feels good. Maybe it's just kind of like a roll, or it's just more shaking and just kind of, I love making a sound because it's shaking your diaphragm. Just whatever feels good. Shake your legs out, your feet. Whatever sounds feel releasing and feel really really connected, and just like getting into your body and feeling like tuning into your body and feeling like what feels good now, like what way feels good to move my body and release energy. Maybe roll the shoulders, roll the neck out. We hold so much tension up here in our neck and shoulders. And then from this space, taking some exhales. So in through the nose and out through the mouth. And when you breathe out through the mouth, making whatever sound feels relevant. So maybe it's a, or maybe it's a, like if you have a lot of heat built up with this Aries fire, whatever feels really resonant and true for your body in this moment, whatever it needs. It might just be like a big, like fire breath, or it might just be like, like a relaxing sigh, just letting everything out and hang. And from this space, we're just going to notice. We're going to notice how our body feels in this moment. Notice what your eyes might be doing in their sockets. Are they tensed? Are they relaxed? Notice if your shoulders are kind of held up or relaxed down. And you don't have to try to force them to be different. Just notice. Notice how your hips feel. Maybe give them a little shake if you didn't shake them enough earlier. Notice the stability of your feet on the ground and just how that feels. And just getting a sense of peripheral vision. So even with your eyes closed, you can sense space to the left and right of you, in front of and behind you, above and below you, and just get a sense of this really wide space, an energetic space around your body. And then moving down your body, give a little swallow. Our body has 4 diaphragms. So behind the eyes, the next one is the tongue and throat. So giving a little swallow. And then we have our actual breathing diaphragm. Just taking a breath and noticing your rib cage going up and down. And then your last one is your pelvic floor. So you can give a squeeze and release of your bladder. And just really tuning into your body in this moment. And if it feels good, you can stay standing. Otherwise, we can come back into seated and just find a comfortable position. If that's lying on the floor for you, that's fine. If it's sitting up, that's good. Whatever feels really comfortable for you in this moment to really anchor in to your body temple and your body space. And what we're going to do is just do a guided walk into your body. So most often we don't spend a lot of time in our body unless we've got practice doing it, or unless we grew up in a really connected, outdoor nurturing environment. Many of us who had trauma, it was not safe to be in our body. So like I lived in my head for 3.5 decades, and even almost 4. and so it actually takes practice to like walk into the body and to allow the body to feel safe in doing that. So often what happens when we try to do a practice like this, and what you guys may have noticed in trying to do the workshop or some of the meditations that I've sent, or just kind of on your own practice, is you'll get kicked out of your body. Like maybe I had the monkey mind, like constant like thoughts and spinning and spinning and spinning. Like, I'll be trying to feel my breath or feel my feet on the ground, and instead I'm thinking about my grocery list or some really random thing that isn't even relevant to anything important. Well, that's my brain trying to protect me, because like, oh, it's not safe in here. Let's stay up here. Let's stay busy. Like, you don't want it, nothing to see here. You don't want to see this. Let's stay up here. That's much safer. So that's okay. If you find during this practice or on your own that that's what's happening for you, just simply, you can put 2 hands on your temples and kind of hold your brain. Oh, thank you, brain. It's just one of your protectors, like we talked about in the workshop. That is one of your protectors. So your brain is a protector, protecting this wounded little guy or girl back here who, for whatever may be happening, feels like it's not safe to feel that. So it's totally normal and it's wonderful. Like, okay, thank you, brain. Thank you, body. I know you're trying to keep me safe, and just directing back into the body. So there's nothing going wrong. If you find yourself frustrated, love the part of you that's frustrated. So like, okay, brain, thank you. And let me love the part of myself that is frustrated that I can't do this quote unquote right. There is no right way to do this. Even if the entire time you are in this space, you're constantly coming back up into your mind and like finding that you have no idea what I just said, or you haven't been paying attention for 15 minutes. It doesn't actually matter. It's the intention of sitting and trying, and it will get easier. It's a practice. So think of like going for a walk in the woods where a trail has not been made yet. And the first time you go, it's slow and it's clunky and you got thorns and it's kind of wonky, and you've got your tools to clip along and you might only get, 20 yards. And then the next time you go, you get those 20 yards and then maybe you get 20 more. And then once you do this every day as a practice, you finally have a pathway where like, oh, now I can literally just drop into my body. Or, oh, now while I'm washing dishes or driving, I can just tune in and I can actually feel what's happening in my body. So don't feel like you're doing it wrong or it's not working if it takes you a long time. Like it took me a long time, like and I mentioned this on the workshop, for a while, my body was just blank. Like somebody would say, well, what do you feel in your body? Like, I don't know. Like, nothing. So it's okay if you don't feel like this is working. Any intention to connect with your body and be in your body is really helpful. So I'm going to preface this with that. So what I'm going to do is just essentially guide you into your body. If you find that your mind is spinning out doing something else, just, like a child, like, refocus. Let's come back into the body, back into the breath. It sometimes does help to keep actual hands on your skin. So like if you can put your hand on your skin over your heart or on your belly, on your solar plexus, like this is like the very innate experience between mother and child and father and child when the child is just born, like a newborn, being skin on skin. We can do the same things for ourselves now. And like, I didn't really understand that before, and it didn't actually work for me for a while. But after this practice, like now I can actually feel like, oh, wow, like I'm being held. Like for a while, it didn't really do anything for me. It was like, keep doing it. It matters. Like you're literally somatically healing your own inner child. So anytime you can get skin on skin, like if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling stressed, if you just need to anchor in, if you can put your hand right on your heart, left hand first, right over the top, and just feel how it feels to close your eyes and just breathe into that heart space. And just feel the breath in through your heart space as if you're breathing through your heart chakra, through your heart space, under where your hands are. And breathing that back out. Just start getting a sense of what's happening for you in your body. So anchoring back in, as we did before, into your sit bones, into your root chakra, feeling the weight of gravity like a hug from Mama Gaia. And if it helps, you can take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth with a sound, and kind of exhale down into your root, dropping down into Gaia, into your body. You can picture a grounding cord coming out from your sacrum, from your root chakra, going down through your chair, down through the floor, down through the crust of Mama Gaia, way down deep into the center, and just anchoring you in, just holding you really steady and strong here. Grounding is so important right now in this eclipse energy. Just any time that you feel a little bit ungrounded or frustrated or anxious, just really dropping back in, getting your bare feet on the ground is really helpful. But just feeling yourself really connected to Mama Gaia, feeling that weight, feeling your feet on the ground, your strong center and core that's supporting you. And even notice where you are actually holding yourself up as if you're not being held. And that just, you don't have to change it. It's simply just noticing like, oh, where is my body holding just out of a pattern, out of tension? Where am I holding? Where am I not releasing into this beautiful support? Just taking some deep breaths. And once again, checking in with the 4 diaphragms. So the first one behind your eyes, by noticing your peripheral vision. So notice to the left and right of you. Even with your eyes closed, you can notice the space in front of and the back of you, and above and below. And give a swallow, moving down to the second, give a little swallow. And then tune into your actual breathing diaphragm. As the breath goes in, it pulls down and the lungs go out. And as you breathe out, it goes back up and relaxes and the lungs come in, the rib cage comes in. And then your pelvic floor, it actually goes down to create space. When the diaphragm comes and pushes it down, you might be able to sense that on your in-breath. And your pelvis kind of goes out to make space for the breath. And then back up as you breathe out. Just noticing what sensations you might feel on your skin, heat or cool. Noticing what you're hearing besides my voice. Noticing any smells or taste and just really anchoring into your body. And if you find yourself getting distracted, just simply, thank you, brain. I'm going to be in our body right now and just tune yourself right back in to your breath and your feet on the floor and to your sit bones on the chair or the seat. Just really anchoring into what is here. Noticing where you're holding tension. You might have a tightness that has been there for days. You might have some actual body pain. You might have a specific sensation or emotion. Just noticing and putting some loving attention on that space. Hands are extension of the heart. So like if you have a tension in your neck, you can move one or both hands, to your neck. I hold a lot of tension in my jaw. So just put some loving attention and loving hands on whatever part of your body you feel like needs it. Just really being present for your body. If you remember the exercise from the workshop, saying, thank you, body. Thank you for holding this. You are not alone. I am here holding this too. And just being so appreciative of all the information, all the communication, all the wisdom coming from our body. Knowing that it's all here for us. And if we forget, we will. Like, oh, yep, I just got frustrated that, I have a headache because I had something to do. Sorry, body. Let me get back and give it some love. What do you need, body? I'm just really honoring this beautiful body temple. Just focus in on your feet for a moment. Maybe give your little toes a wiggle. Just feeling if you can get most of your attention on your feet. How they feel. Maybe you can feel if they're inside socks, or you can feel how they feel experiencing the floor or whatever they're against. You feel their temperature. Feel yourself feeling your feet. Now at the same time, you can leave about half your attention at your feet. And this time, let's also add your sacrum, your root chakra. So see if you can split your attention between your feet and your root chakra. And it's okay. We're just having fun. So if this is hard or you have no idea what I'm even saying and you're just like, I can't do this, totally fine. Just try. Can I feel my feet and my sit bones at the same time? Can I feel, where my feet are touching and what I'm sitting on at the same time? Not because it really matters, but because this is how we started tuning to our bodies and start bringing our attention inside. So, can I actually do this? Oh, I can. Or, oh, you know what? That was really hard. Just information. And just taking some deep breaths and kind of shaking it out a little bit and just coming back into the moment. Thank you, body. Thank you, self, for allowing that space. Thank you, brain, for being on pause for a moment, or maybe it wasn't, and we'll learn. We'll work on that. That's okay. I would be happy to answer any questions, and if nobody has any, that's totally fine. But if there's anything that has been difficult, anything you're curious about, somebody in our Telegram group, I sent out via email the link to our Telegram group where we're doing like real-time updates, and I drop in little meditations and things in there. Somebody was asking about anger the other day, and it was so relevant for right now. Like, what do we actually do with this anger? And, you know, really it's doing the same thing. It's sitting and breathing it out and being with it, feeling where it is in your body. Like, oh my gosh, it's in my stomach, or oh, I feel it in my chest, or I feel like fire in my throat. And just really being with the experience. And the other part of it that was really actually difficult for them was, I don't like this feeling. This doesn't feel good. I was taught that this isn't what we do. So like, how do I love the part of myself that I'm like, this does not feel good. Like, I don't want to be like this. And that's difficult. So if you guys have had experiences, or just questions as you're going through this process, or if anything was just came up for you just now in that experience, if you're curious about something, like, no question is a dumb question. I guarantee someone else has it. So if you're curious, either raise your hand or just unmute yourself. If you have a question, I'd be happy to answer. Yeah, Jib, go ahead.
Yeah, so I feel some tightness on my neck. Let's say when we notice some sensation that our body is holding wherever, you know, which body part it is, we just notice, and we don't have to wish that it would go away. Just notice the sensation. That's all we do. Is that what it is?
Yes. So what happens is if you remember kind of the cycle of emotions, yeah, like our body has a need, it expresses the need, and then the environment can respond to it. That's how it, you know, quote unquote, should work. That's like the ideal cycle. But many times throughout our life, even if you had a wonderful childhood, that isn't what happened. And so when that isn't what happens, like, I'll give you a really normal example. Let's say you're working in an office and, you know, you're having a rough day, and like you're in a meeting and you feel like crying, or like your boss says something mean and you don't want to cry in the meeting. Like, you're an adult. Like, I don't want to be in this meeting crying. Nick, you've probably not had this experience, but but us ladies, we know. So like, that's happened to me many times. I don't work in an office anymore, but I did for decades. And I would have to stifle my own body's natural response because I had an emotion. I was trying to put out an expression, and I, on purpose, stifled it. So what happens to that emotion? Our body holds on to it. So what all that literally is needing, and think of it this way, if your son comes up and let's say they're playing and he skins his knee and he runs up, mom, but you're like in the middle of something and you just don't have a moment to give him attention, he'll sit there and cry and need attention until he gets it. The moment though you attune to him, focus and give him acknowledgement and attention, he's fine in like 30 seconds, right? So yeah, that's literally all that is needed. You didn't have to convince him that his knee was fine. Now, some parents try to do that. If you're doing that, that's okay, but stop now. Like, just feel, just literally attune to them. So, oh my gosh, you hurt your knee. I'm so sorry. Let me give you a hug. What do you need? Let's just sit with that pain for a minute. Let's give your knee some love. That is literally all that's needed. So let's give the example with the neck. So maybe you put one or both hands there and you just notice, you're simply noticing the tension in your neck, what that actually feels like. Maybe it's a sharp pain, maybe it's pressure, maybe it's like, you know, energy moving, maybe it's like a lump of like, you know, how we get those lumps in our neck. Whatever the actual sensation is in your physical body, simply just attuning to it, meaning just giving your present attention to it, it will change based on your attention of it. Now, I say that carefully because the goal is not to get it to change, but it will. So let's say we're just like, oh, neck, thank you for holding this attention. Or thank you for holding this tension. You know, thank you, neck. Thank you. You know, mine is my job, but like, let's use your neck example. So just being, you can give some loving attention, like you can picture a beautiful spirit light going around your neck and just simply holding space for it. Simply holding space. Now, when you do that, one of three things will happen. One, it might be really a lot of trauma there, and it might just kind of stay the same. That doesn't mean it's failing. It means it just needs more time, because the goal of this is not to make it change, but it almost always does. But the goal is not to make it go away. It's just to simply attune, like, oh, neck, you're holding so much. Thank you so much. I'm here holding too. Like, remember the fist exercise? We're just doing this. Thank you for holding this, and recognizing that it's holding something for you that just needs to be attuned to. Now, the second thing that might happen is it might shift and go up into your head, or down into your throat, or down into your belly, or it might shift completely out. But it will change. Like anything you give focused attention to, I think what they've actually discovered scientifically is that 90 seconds is the maximum you ever have to actually feel anything in your body before it will transform. Like, it's really very easy to feel pain when you're actually willing to do it. So it's 90 seconds. Even if it's terrible, it's going to be 90 seconds. Now it might change into something else, and then it might be 90 seconds in that space, but simply attuning to it. And the third thing that might happen is you might actually have an emotional experience come up. So you might get an insight of like, oh, wow, I just had this, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, what happens for me sometimes is like my inner child will just pop up, and I'll just have some insight, or some emotion will come either as a feeling or as a word. Like I'll feel, sadness or isolation or whatever it is. So you can attune and see like what's here holding, but you don't ever have to. Like, that's the thing. So something like that might come up. It doesn't mean anything if it doesn't. So yes, you're absolutely right. All we're doing is, thank you for holding this. Just simply giving it attention, giving it love. It most of the time will shift by doing that. And if it doesn't, it needs more attention and more love. So just, maybe you do it again later, or maybe this is a chronic thing and you just want to keep it in the back of your mind. Like, as you're going through your day and like, oh gosh, I just picked that up and this tweaked again. Like, oh, thank you, body. And just having it as awareness, like, thank you, neck. Thank you. Thank you for holding this. Does that help?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great question. Thank you. Because yeah, it does seem odd. Like, is this really all I'm doing? Is just focusing on this thing? Yep. Literally, your attention has so much power. Like, our attention is like, I have a t-shirt that says love is our superpower, but our attention is also our superpower. And our loving attention, oh my gosh, there's literally nothing more powerful, whether for your children, for your spouse, for yourself, for your body. And my t-shirt right now says, love your body like your life depends on it. Yes, because it does. So like, all you're doing is coming with hands, coming with attention. Thank you. Thank you for holding this. Thank you. It's just a time to bless your sweet body for holding all this shit for us. What else? What questions? You guys have anything else? Okay. Well, let's do a kind of drop-in meditation, and we'll hold space for some of this stuff. You might want to go off camera just so you can kind of really be in a deeper space. I will guide you back into your body, and we'll hold space for all of this goodness that has been coming up. So one of the things that's been happening is, just to give you a little bit of an astrological energy update, is we're in the middle of a massive portal. So eclipse season is really intense, and it is like a death and a rebirth. So you might see yourself acting crazy, you might see other people acting crazy. And what's happening is, purposefully, everything that has been repressed and needs to be brought up to be seen and loved is coming out in this eclipse season. And that's on purpose. So like, even if it feels terrible to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. Like, okay, let me love the one who just lost her mind, like in a way that I didn't even know was possible. Like, let me just love that part of myself, or let me love the part of myself that cannot love that part of myself right now. Let me just sit and acknowledge how I'm feeling. And it's the Matt Kahn, like, here I am feeling this way. Like, here I am feeling like a complete a-hole, or here I am feeling just absolutely devastated. Whatever it is, just simply acknowledging whatever you're feeling and understanding that this is a powerful time. we have the ability to quantum leap up into a more embodied, grounded, healthy version of ourselves if we're willing to sit with this stuff. So if we're willing to sit with it in our body and not the story in our head. So like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my coworker always does this. And blah, 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 it's always about her, blah, blah, blah. Okay. What do you feel in your body? Like, how does that feel in your body? All she's doing is holding up a sign that says healing here. So same thing with your spouse, with your kids. They're holding up a sign. Where do you feel that in your body? Like, where does that live in here? And get out of the story in your head, because all the story in your head does is keeps you up here and keeps you in the drama triangle. And it's actually, you cannot heal from that space. So it's like, oh, that's protecting me. Let me get out of the story and into my body. Oh my gosh, I feel really like this clenching in my heart. I'm actually really sad. And I didn't know it because I was spinning my brain about her, because I actually feel totally abandoned, or whatever the situation was. So just recognize, so we had an eclipse on Wednesday or Thursday, depending upon what time zone you were in. We've got another one in 2 weeks. I think it's May 5th. It's a lunar eclipse this time. So this time period is just really magnified. Anytime you can do these practices, like the meditation I sent out, or rewatch this, or just re-experience different parts of this, or just do this on your own, like take 5 minutes in the morning or the evening, or many times throughout the day, and just tune in with your body. Like, how are you, body? What do you feel as you're washing dishes, as you're brushing teeth? Put a Post-it note on the mirror. How are you, body? And just check in. The more that you can do that, the more you can essentially be carried by the momentum of this time and really propel yourself forward. Like, this is a time when you can literally change your entire life and way of being. And not that you have to change anything externally, it's internal. And then, you know, if you want something to, if there's something you desire, some change you're trying to make, changing it internally will then carry out externally. So let's drop in. You can use this part of this meditation, just like the part of the beginning, over and over and over. Same thing with the one I sent maybe a week and a half ago or something. And just in case you didn't read that email, I got shown very clearly, because what I was doing was creating a 3-part class, and Spirit showed me very clearly, we don't need a class right now. We need like really direct times to practice, really direct guided things for people to use. We need short snippets of tools, like get the light out to the people. It's like, okay. So they had me up at like 1 o'clock in the morning doing that meditation for y'all. I was like, okay, great. Thanks. And it's been great. So I even use it. Okay. So we'll do that right now. We're just going to close our eyes, anchor back in to this sweet body temple, thanking it for being present here today. Thanking it for being available for all this healing and for all that it has been holding. Making any sounds or adjustments or movements in your body that would help you. If you feel like you need to lay down for this part, that might be really well received by your body. We're going to do a guided embodiment meditation here and just hold space for all these sweet little parts of us, and just listen to whatever your body needs right now. Maybe it's a shake, maybe it's a sigh out, maybe it's to change positions, maybe it's just hands on your heart. Whatever feels really, really true and resonant for your body. And just starting to tune back in, really following that path we created earlier, tuning in to your sit bones, into your feet on the ground, feeling your breath in your body, going in and out of your lungs, noticing your peripheral vision, noticing how your body feels in this moment. Where might you be a little bit more loose? Where might you still be holding some tension? And if it feels good, you can put one or both hands on that space. And once again, we're not trying to change the experience. We're not trying to make the body relax. We're just simply noticing, just being aware, and just really feeling into your body and starting to notice your higher wisdom coming forth, your angels and guides, the highest light, whoever that may be, starting to feel this beautiful, loving presence of spirit. Mother Mary is so present with us right now. Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Archangel Michael. You probably have your own spirit team and angels and guides of the highest light and source wisdom surrounding you right now. And know that even if you can't feel them, they are here. They are always here, but especially when we're calling them forth like this and really intentionally connecting with them. And you can always do this in your practice. You can call them in, even if you don't know who you're calling in, you can just call in your higher wisdom. Call in God, Goddess, whatever feels resonant. Just calling in the highest light spirit support. Just feel this wrapping around like a beautiful spirit blanket. Just really flowing through and around your body like a really cozy blanket. Just going into all the spaces and all the crevices that have been hurting or tense or angry or shameful or overwhelmed or anxious. Just any part of you that feels like it needs extra support, extra love, extra attention, and just really feeling that right now and just sitting with that for a moment. Just feeling how that feels in your body. And placing a hand where you might feel like you need some extra support. Maybe you have your hands on your heart. Maybe there are ones on your heart and one somewhere that needs support. Whatever feels really good and nurturing for your body, our body and our emotions, and even mentally. We have been going through so much in the past 2 weeks. This energy has been intense. And y'all who have been doing this as a regular practice, especially, have really been diving into some deep stuff. And it can feel like a lot, and life can feel like too much right now. So just doing whatever you need to do in your body. Maybe it's like curling up in the fetal position and kind of hugging yourself, or maybe it's giving yourself a hug, just where you're sitting or laying. Maybe it's putting hands on your face or a part of you that's had some chronic pain or tension. Just whatever feels really, really honoring to your body temple. And just allowing in this space, this very safe space, you can feel this beautiful space being held by spirit and your highest wisdom. You can feel your beautiful body temple being held by Mama Gaia. And just inviting in whatever part of you needs to be held right now. That part of you that has been struggling or feeling isolated or feeling angry, the part of you that has been really vocal lately and been really up and like activated, or maybe it's a part of you that has felt very hidden and isolated and alone, and it has felt like it hasn't gotten the chance to come forward. Right now, we are at the divine time of 4:44, which means we are surrounded by angels. Just taking that into this space and allowing that part of you that really needs to be held and seen right now to really, really be welcome here. Even if this is a part of you that you feel like shouldn't be welcome, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the way I treated my kids, or oh my gosh, this is such a shameful memory. Like whatever it is, there is no space in your being that does not deserve love. Every single part of you is lovable. This part of you that feels like maybe that's not true about them, it is lovable just exactly as it is. And it is welcome here exactly as it is. And just noticing who's coming forward, noticing what they might need, whether it's just you can picture giving them a little hug or sitting with them while they cry. Maybe they're just need to be really upset, whatever is coming forth. And even if nothing's coming forth, that's totally okay. If you're not automatically, shown or brought something into your awareness, that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It's just not available at this point, and you can just give this space to yourself as a whole, and just to the parts of you that are hurting. Just really, really anchoring into this space, anchoring into the spirit support for them, anchoring into your really grounded sit bones on the chair, your feet on the ground, and just really holding space for this part of you. Maybe it's one memory that pops up, maybe it's a collection, maybe it's a specific pain in your body that you're feeling. Whatever sensations are happening in your body and whatever is coming forth to be loved, that's exactly what is needed right now. And if nothing's specifically coming forward, just giving loving presence to all of yourself, to all of the experience that you've been having lately, just for showing up here, just giving yourself love for being present to sit and do this for yourself. Whether it took you, 3 tries to get through it and you had to keep taking breaks, or whether you had to just keep bringing yourself back into your body and out of your mind, this is really important. And just giving yourself that acknowledgement of simply showing up today, and of showing up for yourself, and just really honoring this part of you who was willing to come forward, whether it was in a body, physical body communication, a sensation, or whether it was an emotion, whether it was part of you that was coming forth to be seen as from a child, or whether it was from, this morning. Just really honoring exactly where you are right in this moment, knowing that exactly where you are is exactly where you need to be, and that you are so, so welcome to be here exactly like this, and that you are so, so lovable. And just giving this part of you just some extra attention, maybe an extra big hug. You can give yourself a squeeze, like in your body, if that feels good. You can put your hands on your heart, just really honoring what has been a struggle lately. Really honoring what has been difficult and the emotions that you've moved through. Really honoring yourself for showing up. This matters so much, and this is the deepest form of self-love and self-care. Bubble baths are great, but it's got nothing on loving yourself in this way and accepting all the parts of yourself. This is what true self-love feels like, is acknowledgement of wherever you are, and understanding no matter how bad it feels, you are still so worthy of love in every single moment. And that version of you was only protecting another version of you. Even if it was something you thought was horrendous, it happened for a reason, to keep you safe or to keep another part of you safe. So even the pieces that we feel like are not worthy of love are so, so worthy of this love. Just feeling Mother Mary's presence, just wrapping your beautiful body temple in all these little pieces in the highest light love, And just tucking them into your heart, bringing them back into wholeness. You can literally love these pieces of yourself back into wholeness. It's as if you've been kind of split off with trauma or tension, and you can literally find and collect these pieces, and by loving them and simply giving them your attention and love, bring them back into your heart, back into wholeness. And just picture that happening either with your own heart love or with Mother Mary and Spirit Source, your higher wisdom, and just gathering all these pieces back into your heart, giving yourself a beautiful big hug, just thanking your body. Thank you for being here, body. Thank you for holding this. Thank you to yourself for showing up. Thank you to our angels and guides, the highest light, to Mother Mary, Archangel Michael, Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, Mama Gaia on this beautiful Earth Day. And just honoring all the support we had here and all the support that you gave to your sweet little pieces. And when it feels good, just kind of wiggling out, shaking out, and coming back into this moment, back into your physical body, your physical presence. And give a little wiggle. You can kind of give a squeeze and like reconnect with yourself. We do have a few minutes if anybody has any final questions. I hope that you all are able to carry this in through the rest of your day, through the rest of your weekend, into this eclipse portal. Keep doing this practice. So even if it is, and when it's not the eclipse portal and you're watching this later, always important. It's just a little, it'll get you farther now. It's like getting farther on a tank of gas. Like we got steam right now. Like it's go time, and it's really amazing. Like what is happening right now is powerful. So like try to power down technology, power up the body. So if you can be outside, if you can get your feet on the ground, hug a tree, like literally be in contact with Gaia as much as you can, get in the natural light, try to be off technology as much as you can, but especially in the evening, like after it's dark. Drink lots of water, be very loving to yourself and whatever's coming up, have grace for yourself and for others. If someone is having a nightmare of a time, just understand like, oh, their little pieces are just coming up to be loved. They're just holding the sign. Just send them love. You don't have to take on their shit. You don't have to be involved in their business. You can if you feel called to, but like just send them love. If it's your children, obviously, you know, you do have to show up for that, but here's what you do. So like, if you're trying to support your children, the first thing you do is anchor in here. Like I used to go out first. It's like the airplane. You put your mask on first, then you secure the kiddo, because what happens is what they need is co-regulation. So if you anchor into your own body, so let's say like my daughter's just like, if I come out to her, it's not nearly as helpful is if while I'm standing with her, hugging her, or whatever she needs, sitting next to her, I'm anchoring into my own body. So literally while I'm sitting there or holding her or listening to her, I will ground into my, just like we did, ground into my root chakra, ground into my sit bones, feel my feet on the floor, take a deep breath, drop into my center. And it immediately, her nervous system can feel, oh, it's safe to anchor here. It's safe to be here. And so they will immediately, and you can do this with anybody, but especially for our children. I mean, we don't need to help, you know, our coworkers co-regulate, but we can, like you can sit in a meeting and drop into your body and like be present in your body, and it will help other people do the same thing. It's amazing. So try it and see if it works. But especially with your family, like before you eat something, sit. If it's your practice to say grace or say thank you, like whatever it is, sit, drop into your core, feel your feet on the ground, notice your peripheral vision, drop into your heart space. From that space, like, oh, my body's safe here. Here I am. And then from that space, literally everything is just different. So use this, put a Post-it note up. I have it written on my mirror. I write on my mirror and dry erase because you can erase. I tend to ignore Post-it notes. So do whatever you need to do to keep this top of mind. Set an alarm on your phone. Do at least one time daily of like checking in. You don't have to use anything else. Like you can literally just, okay, let me feel my body. Where do I feel tension? Where do I feel sensations? What's available here? That could take 30 seconds or it could take 30 minutes. Whatever time you have, use it. Do it while you're driving, do it while you're brushing your teeth. Just make this a practice, because what happens is the more you practice, then it just becomes a way of life. And then you're like, oh, I'm just in my body. How great. I don't even have to practice anymore. I still have to practice because that's how much trauma I had as a kid and how much my protectors did their job. I had really great protectors. So like, I still sometimes I'm like, whoa, I was totally on autopilot. Like I was just speeding through things, like on my go time. And I'm like, oh, I'm totally not in this moment. So just try to be present as much as you can. Yeah, Joy, go ahead.
Hi. Well, thank you for that. I just really have a statement and then a quick question.
Yeah.
So the statement was, I just really enjoyed that practice, that last one, and it felt really good too. It's interesting. The first one, there's one thing you said that just really kind of hit me when you said, like, just notice in your body if you're holding, like when you're, I think the thing you said was like, allow yourself to be held. And
Yeah,
I'm
because
like,
we do this. Like
well, no,
our body
because
isn't
I'm
gonna hold
like,
us up.
right. And I'm like, no, like I have the pattern of like, I got to do all of it myself. So it's like
Yes.
just soften into like somatically. I know cognitively, I'm like, yes, I'm open to receiving and all these affirmations I tell myself, but somatically, I feel like there's this holding pattern inside of me. That when you said that, I had this like jolts, right? And I did a little check-in with my inner child and kind of was like, what was that about? Like, let's kind of like feel that out a little bit. But when you did the second one, yeah, I got to release it more. And just starting, I noticed it just really like when you brought in, or when like the angels came and all of that, then yeah, it was really neat. And I really appreciate the guidance in the whole experience. So if I felt a bit of a shift, within my system in that moment, like during that second meditation.
Gosh, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And this is really, I love that you brought this in, and feel free, we have about 3 minutes. So if anybody needs to drop off, go ahead, but I feel like this is really important. So thank you for bringing this in. Your holding pattern, that, that tension and that, like, oh, but I got to do all the things. Like, how am I going to get it? Like, who else is going to do all the things? Like, I got to keep this together. That is absolutely the pattern that I ran for decades. And that's what saved my life. So what you want to notice is like, oh, that's my protector protecting this wounded little girl who maybe doesn't feel safe or doesn't feel like she has support. And like, you'll know for you, it will be very different for each one of us. And some of us might have similar traumas. Other people might be completely different, but like what you can do is simply notice the protector. Like you don't have to figure out who they're protecting, but eventually that will come for sure. But what you notice is like, oh, that's my protector. So it hasn't been safe to relax in and to trust that other people will help and to receive support or to be vulnerable enough to be helped, whatever the situation is. So like you can actually listen. This is really interesting, and you can journal this out.
Like I feel like I knew exactly what it was, and
Perfect. Yeah.
the child, the version, and I knew what happened to her and all of it. So it was like just noticing the somatic like holding.
Yes.
And then just like, I think it was, I was trying not to, you cued like, don't try to fix it or change it, just like lean into it and kind of like notice it. And then through that, I don't know, something shifted and I just kind of like softened into it a little bit. And there's a little tear that ran down my eye too. So there's something, that my little girl was like, Like like I was just being there with her.
Yeah. Oh,
That and not trying to be like, oh no, you need to relax. Like, come on. Like, I was
yes.
just like, yeah,
It's
this is
this,
like,
like, oh,
yeah,
I'm here with you, not like, you gotta stop, you gotta relax. That's what I used to
yeah.
do to myself.
Like,
Like,
come on,
oh.
relax.
Yes, that's what I used to do
Yeah.
to myself in yoga. Thank you for bringing that in, because the somatic piece is what's so important, because we can, just like you were saying, like we can cognitively understand, like, oh, it's this, but like that little part of you was still holding it, like that hadn't been a completed cycle in your body. And what you will find, I said, there will probably be many more layers there. And what is amazing is that you had such a deep and significant experience, like in one thing. Sometimes it takes a long time to get to the layer where you actually know what it was. Like a lot of times, like you'll see the protector, you'll see the protector, you'll see the protector, but like you don't actually get to the little guy or gal for many, many layers. So it's amazing that you already had that drop in, you were able to hold space for her. So keep doing that, because that is literally what is needed for that protector to then be like, oh, I don't have to protect her anymore. She's safe. So like it is done literally through your physical body, just like that, of like, oh, here's the one who feels like she's not supported, or whatever the story is, just literally holding space for her. And you can now specifically invite her in to be with you. Like before you go to bed, you can sit and journal, or just like, hey, do you have more space that you need to be held for? Because like for me, I had to hold space for like, you know, my 7-year-old for like 20 years. Like it's still going, like it's probably going to be forever. And that's okay. It depends on the trauma. So that's really wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing and bringing that
Yeah,
in.
she's just really happy that she got like attended to.
Yes.
And the other part is like, because I tend to be very busy, like I work a lot, I'm just like, you know, doing these things. And so yeah, like really my intention these last 2 weeks were to like slow the fuck down. Like like slow down, Joy. So it's like these intentional moments of really just slowing down. Yeah.
And so that busyness, I love the quote by Angela Johnson, who a lot of this wisdom came from, somatic mountain medicine. The language of trauma is tension, not enough space and not enough time. That busyness, that go, 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 autopilot, like keep me busy, that is your protector distracting you and keeping you safe. So just noticing like, oh, I'm scheduling all this stuff and being so busy. What is in here? Who needs to be attuned to? And that can be really scary in the beginning, because there's a lot of shit that hasn't been attuned to when we've been busy for 40 years. And it's like, oh my God. So like, if you need help, you can come back and like use this experience or this meditation. And like, I also do one-on-ones to hold space and like co-regulate and anchor light, because some of this stuff, like if we had trauma, is really big. So don't feel, and like I'm speaking to you and others, don't feel like you're failing if like, oh my gosh, I can't stop myself from being busy. Like I literally, my body wants to get up and like go check, you know, TikTok or whatever, or like I have to like go work on my grocery list. Like your body will do that because it has learned it is not safe to be here. So just noticing like, oh, this busyness, we're just avoiding being in here. We're avoiding like who needs attention. And like sometimes like all the stops will come out like, no, don't, you know, be really bad. Like sometimes it's really hard to make that space, but then you just notice like, oh, thank you, protectors. Thank you. We're going to sit here for 5 minutes. I'm going to set a timer. You only have to do it for 5 minutes. Like you can like kind of negotiate with your people. I promise you'll be safe for 5 minutes. And like, the more you can do that, and that's a beautiful intention, to be present, to be with this stuff, because somatically, just like you saw, excuse me, today, is that's where the healing is. This is literally being held in your body. A very divine, wonderful protector is keeping you busy to not see it. And the moment you start seeing it, the amount of healing that can be done, just like you saw today, I mean, it's unbelievable. You can heal massive, massive shit in like 1 or 2 sessions and just sitting with this stuff. So keep on sitting with that little gal. Thank you, Nick. Thank you for bringing that in.
well,
We will
thank
do a quick little closing. Thank you all so much for being here on the recording and live. We're sending so much love to everybody, sending so much eclipse portal love. Thank you all for being here. And I will keep sending out supportive things. I'm working on a healing bundle now with different videos and meditations. If you haven't seen the meditation yet, it was like the end of the one that we just did now. It's about 20 minutes. It came straight from Mother Mary at like 1 o'clock in the morning, like maybe a week ago. It's on the email that I send out if you're on my email list. If you're not on my email list, go to annadmoshe.com and go to the healing page and sign up for the free workshop. And then all the stuff will be sent. We have a free Telegram group where we're doing lots of amazing stuff, and I will keep sending all this amazing goodness and just keep reusing this stuff and use the practices. All right. So many blessings. Happy Earth Day. Mwah.